Good morning, everyone. Okay, so we're going to move into a new category today, gathering exercises. So we've done the preliminary. We didn't do the face today, but we just didn't have time. We do the cleansing exercise and then the charging exercise. And now we're going to do a gathering exercise. There's actually four gathering exercises. We'll do two today and two tomorrow. I think we've done three of them in the class, I think, before. And then we'll just add a variation on one of them, so that will be the fourth. So the first exercise is gathering yang from heaven and yin from earth. And there's two ways to do this. You can simply gather yang from heaven, right? Bring it into the danchen, and you can just continue with that. So 9 times. And then switch and gather yin from earth into the danchen and do that 9 times. Or you can do it the way we do it, which is to alternate them. So let's do it that way, all right? Start with yang qi from heaven, grab 2 big handfuls, breathe it down into the third eye, and then sink it through the body to the danchen. And then gather yin qi from earth, bring it up through the perineum, up the tailbone, and then to the Mingmen, and then roll it forward into the danchen. Breathe in and breathe out. Neutral. And then breathe in and breathe out. neutral. Breathe in, breathe out, neutral. Breathe in, breathe out, and neutral. Now, when you grab 2 handfuls of chi, don't just pull them down with your arms. Right? Use the weight of the body. Sink back into your Ming Mud and then all the way down. Right? Just use the weight of your body to pull it down and then into the Dan Chen. When you come up, by the time you get up to here, your spirit should be up in your crown chakra, and it should be leading you up. So it's almost like it's pulling you up. And then you switch, as you load into the Dan Chen, you switch back into neutral. All right, now let the heaviness of the chi pull the yang energy down into the body. Right? And then as you breathe out, sink to the Dan Chen. Now you're just kind of in neutral. Gather yin chi, right? Bring it up, right, to the Ming Mud, and you come all the way up to the top of the head, and then roll it forward into the Dan Chen, and again, you're in neutral. Okay, take a little bit of a horse stance. All right, the next move is gathering chi to the three dan chans. Now, we've already done one exercise to the three dan chans. This one's a little different, uses the three dan chans. But in the first one that we did, we gathered chi to the upper dan chen, the middle dan chen, and the lower dan chen. And you leave a lot of it there. You're actually just charging those batteries, although each of them has a connection to the center dan chen. So you're really charging the whole line. This one, you are literally gathering and packing chi into the body, especially into the area of the three dan chens, the upper dan chen, the third eye, the dan chen proper, and the lower dan chen at the root chakra. Right? So bring your weight to the right and use your daimai, right, to turn, gather chi and breathe it into the upper dan chen, and then lower it down to the dan chen proper. Right? And the other side. And breathe in and breathe out. Neutral. Breathe in and breathe out. Neutral. Breathe in and breathe out.
When I do these exercises, my lower abdomen starts expanding, just automatically,
so
spontaneously.
I hope you heard what Annie said. As she does these exercises, her lower abdomen begins to swell. And yes, that's a very common feeling with this. And it actually does. And the middle position, directly into the dan chen. And the lower position, up through the perineum, the tailbone to the Mingmen, and then into the dan chen. I'm going to come up closer to the camera. I want you to watch my thumbs, all right? Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. When you breathe out, everything relaxes. When you're breathing in, remember to lift the anus slightly, all right? So you're creating a little tension here. And then relax. It's not that the thumb does anything in particular. It's just a way to remember that you need to really take some time to exhale and really relax. Mixing. And reverse. and reverse. And reverse. And touch the earth. And close your pores. Salute our masters and salute your classmates. Thank you, everyone. If you're going to stay for beginning Tai Chi, we're going to be working on the end of move 1 and the beginning, at least, of move 2. Give me 10 minutes. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.
My meditation is changing, honey.
Also,
I don't know. Try to explain it. there's 3 or 4 really good ones.
Good.
Thank you. I'm changing my clothes.
Hey, how you doing?
Surviving.
S-
Surviving.
Surviving? Well, I guess that's better than not surviving. How's Lee doing?
Oh, she's doing fine. She's got some numbness in her hand that probably carpal tunnel related to the surgery.
Yeah.
So she's not real happy about that.
Is that something that is remedial? Can it be remediated?
Well, I think you need to give it time, and then if it gets, well, I think she needs to go to a doctor to see, but I don't think she needs surgery at this point. But she
Yeah.
probably needs some therapy or something.
Some PT or something, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm
No.
sorry to hear that, but it takes a while.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I just had some reflexology done on my feet, and I'm going to have it done on my hands because it was amazing. Yeah.
Well, try to find any fun stuff like that up here in Eugene.
Well, there's that.
Well, I don't know. I don't know, Kevin. Compared to Battleground, Eugene is a leading light of culture, and Battleground, it's we have for the past 2 years, we've probably gone out to eat a half a dozen times, and we keep looking for a restaurant with decent food. There just aren't any. There just are no decent restaurants.
Well, you kind of picked basically going from San Francisco
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
whoops.
Like
Yeah,
going
but
from
yeah, but unfortunately, we're paying now what used to be California prices up here in Eugene for shit food.
yeah. Really, is it expensive? Maybe because of the college there, the
No, I
university.
mean to get decent food, you have to pay. I mean, our lunches probably when we go out are probably $50 for the two of us.
Wow. Everything's that way now, I guess. I guess. Fortunately, we just don't go out, so it doesn't cost us anything. Magic remote battery is low. Please change the battery. Okay. My magic remote is not going to be working soon. Um, okay, so we started on the first move last week, but we didn't quite finish it. We've got one little part at the end to do. So we're going to finish that up, and then we'll move on to move number 2. And I'm not sure where Genevieve is, but she's not here today. And Catherine and her husband are out sailing. So they're sailing to some island in the English Channel, having a good time. And Jack, as you know, is in Bali. So we have at least 2 people that we don't like this week. One is in Bali, and the other is sailing to a beautiful island in the English Channel. Right? Okay, so remember what we were doing. Let's just do it. That's as far as we got last week, and then we have this final piece here. Boom. Okay, so what is that final piece about? Well, for one thing, it's preparing you to get into the right position to go on to the next move, right? But it is a reverse Lee circle. Right? So the move starts with a reverse Lee circle, and then a forward Lee circle, and now it's going to finish with another Lee circle and then straight down. So just like the very first tiny little movement here, it's really a movement just like it. It's just a little bigger. So this very first movement, you could say there's like a little tiny circle here. Boom. All right. And now it's the same thing, it's just bigger. So this final movement is somewhere in between the first and the second movement. The first movement is very small. All right. So it hardly comes up to your Dan Chin. Second movement is clear up at the shoulders, right above the Tanchong, and then under the Tanchong. So you're spinning around up here as well as down here. All right. Third one is all the way down. Now the fourth one comes up about halfway in between the two. So about the level of your solar plexus, right under your solar plexus. That's like halfway in between here. And you sink. And then you're going to sink again into the left foot in order to move to the right. It's not always obvious in the form, but there are some places it's more obvious than others. You always sink twice. You sink the first time to finish the move you're doing, and then you sink again to prepare to do the next move. All right? So finish, and then prepare to move, right? So it's 1, 2, boom, and off you go. Questions? Right? So this third Lee circle is just like the first one. You're spinning the Dan Chin backwards. You're moving the microcosmic orbit backwards. It's just that the scale you're working with is a little different. So you've actually, in this first move, you've done 3 reverse Lee circles and 1 forward Lee circle. And the 3 reverse Lee circles are at different levels. 1 low, 1 medium, 1 high, right? Low, high, and medium. Boom. Okay, that finishes what is the classic first move. All right? Questions, Kevin?
So your hands come up to the above your Tanjong. Where are your elbows in relation in all of these moves? They don't go up.
No.
They're not even level. They're still down, right?
The basic rule is the point of your elbow should be pointing at the ground. So if for instance instead of doing this, you were to do this, all right? It's called raising your elbows, and you can feel your chi go all the way up your back. All someone has to do is put their hand under your elbow, and you'll just fall over backwards. All right? Now, they won't just put their hand under your elbow. They'll put one hand under your elbow and one hand on top, and then they're going to crank you like this, and you'll spin out backwards. All right? So you want to keep it's not forcing your elbows, it's just remembering not to raise your elbows. So it should just feel very, very natural. Right? I'm not even thinking about my elbows, right? But they're down. They're pointed down. Right? Just so somebody can't get under them and talk about it. Actually, let me call Annie, because she said something kind of interesting during break that actually has something to do with this. So hold on a minute. Annie, come and tell us that story that you told me during break.
Oh,
About-
what I'm feeling in
Yeah.
when I'm meditating.
Yeah.
Well, I think it also has to do with when I've been practicing balancing.
Well, tell them.
So what I've been doing in meditation is putting my attention, some of my attention on the bottom of my feet, especially, and trying to balance on this forward part of my
Mhm.
ankle
Mhm.
or heel.
Yeah.
Heel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not rocked backwards.
No, I'm just trying to focus on that spot,
Mhm.
right in front of the heel,
Uh-huh.
and get my weight there,
Uh-huh.
and stay steady.
And what happens when you do that?
What happens when I do that is a funny feeling of being weightless and disappearing.
Which almost sounds like there's something wrong with that, but in
No.
fact, it should feel like that. You should, when you get this energy correct, it does feel weightless. However, you're also grounded,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I'm really, really aware of my connection to the earth.
And the way that you are, the manner in which you are weightless is a very particular kind of thing. So explain that.
Well, I was puzzling on, well, what am I actually experiencing? What is creating this sensation, this phenomenon? And then I realized, oh, the chi is moving through my body without resistance. So I've become less aware of the body because it's the resistance that makes me aware of the body.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't feel, strange or odd. It's just different. It's just different. I'm really, really aware of my crown chakra, and then those the bottom of my feet.
So what's heavy is going down into the bottom of the feet. It's like you're growing roots into the ground.
Yeah.
But at the top of the head feels light.
Yeah.
And they express that in English version of expressing that is quote unquote suspend the head top. And the metaphor they use is often like, imagine you're a Christmas ornament hanging on a Christmas tree. And so there's, just a little, but that's not correct. That's not a good metaphor, because that places the locus of something outside yourself. It's not outside yourself. It's from inside. So it's not that you're suspended from up above, it's that you're suspended from inside, so to speak. So something heavy going down, something light going up, awareness of the feet connects you with the ground. And what happens is you can relax.
Yeah, that's what it really feels like. I'm doing it right now.
She's feeling weightless, right? Oh, hold on. You're starting to float, right? So it's not floating. Floating is an error, actually. But it gives you the feeling of a certain kind of grace because you are relaxed.
Yeah.
So that chi flows very easily and very naturally. And it sounds like the simplest thing in the world, but the truth is it's actually quite hard to
find it.
To find that
well,
place.
it's easier to find it than it is to stay in that steady state.
And why do you think?
Well, because you're just, you're crazy.
Because we're all crazy.
Yeah.
One of the advantages to actually doing Qigong, so it's a little hard to do in class because I'm busy talking and we're all thinking and trying to, boy, what are we supposed to be doing, etc. But when you've gone through that process and you're actually just truly practicing, is you have some space and time to do this form of relaxation. And it's really in a sense, it's the simplest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But in another sense, it's actually quite difficult to truly relax.
I mentioned earlier that when we're doing the gathering energy exercises, that my abdomen will start to automatically just expand. And that's because I'm relaxing.
Exactly. And so earlier, were you all three in the earlier class?
Yeah.
Yeah, you all three were. Remember Annie said, "Oh, my abdomen is swelling." This is not something peculiar. This is something that's, in fact, almost universal. That when you actually start to relax, it feels like it's growing.
Yeah, it just sort of drops and starts to expand.
Yeah.
But it's just because I'm relaxing.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
I even pay attention, even though my eyes are closed, I pay attention to where my eyes are located. I want my eyes to be here. I want my, not wandering around, but just really steady state, equidistance.
I saw a video yesterday of Michael Caine, you know, the British actor Michael Caine, giving a little 3-minute acting lesson. And he said, "I'm going to teach you how to look at a camera." All right. He said, "Now you're standing here and the camera's there and the camera's on me, and then it's going to go to you and then it's going to come back to me. The question is, which eye should I use to look at you when the camera is to my right? Or conversely, if it was to my left." And he said, "Let me show you." And so he does one eye and he does the other eye, and it's very subtle. But one eye turns his, when he uses that as the main eye that he's looking at you with. And he said, and it matters which eye you're looking at in the other person. So I'm going to use my left eye to look at your right eye. And when he does that, his face gets a nice full view in the camera. When he said, it's such a tiny little change, but when I look in your other eye, or I use my other eye, it turns his face away from the camera just slightly.
Well, I mention that because I've been exploring this for almost 15 years now, and especially these last 4 years, really thinking about all of this and trying to, if my eyes are in neutral, which I consider neutral to just be in this steady state, the chi flows through the eyes as well.
Yes.
Not not just the rest of the body.
From my point of view as a teacher, Annie's a good student because everything she's describing in her experiences are the same thing that everyone experiences, providing you go into this seriously and really, really look at it in depth. Oh, it turns out you'll actually have pretty much those same experiences.
It's a really interesting experience to feel that relaxed.
Yeah.
And to be able to stay in that steady state of relaxation for an extended period of time.
That's the secret.
Yeah.
Last week we had, sitting at the kitchen table where we have all our serious discussions, we had a long discussion about being in the present moment and just letting go of the need to control your life. And that sounds like something that's a concept up here, but we were talking about it in terms of the body. That tension in the body is actually a form of the fight, or we didn't use this terminology, but the fight or flight response. It's like you got to be thinking about the future. You got to deal with the past. You got to think about the future. You got to do this. You got to do that. And you're never where you actually are in the moment.
Yes, that's really a depressing thought, to think about how much of my life I've actually not experienced.
Well, I can.
Most of my life, I think.
I know many spiritual teachers who would say the actual point of living
is to be present.
Is to give you experience in either not being present or being present.
Yeah.
And your moments of truly being present might only amount to a couple of minutes
They're a cupful.
in your entire
It's
lifetime.
a cupful.
Well, think about what Qigong and Tai Chi really are. They are deliberate, they're actually a form of Zen. They're a deliberate way of confronting you with yourself. Not in all these words that I'm using, but just in the practice. Can you honestly, truly be here in the moment? If you can, you will notice it.
Yeah.
Because you'll feel it as a sense of relaxation. All right, what has that got to do with the first movement of the first form, which is what we were working
I'm sure
on?
you'll tell them, honey.
When you come out to do a practice either for yourself or if you're going to be in a tournament or whatever, right? You come out, you meet your mark, and as soon as you begin this, you enter into meditation, and you stay in meditation for the entire time that you're practicing. So what does that mean? Well, this is why standing meditation is so important. It's to give you a feeling of gradually letting go of tension and getting some firsthand experience with really relaxing. And there are various symptoms of this. One of them is, I start to actually feel grounded. All right? Oh, I'm relaxing. My abdomen is relaxing. I'm allowing my abdomen to relax and as a result, it's kind of quote unquote growing. My shoulders are relaxing. I don't have them up around my ears. Right? They're relaxed. I'm not thinking about the past. And I'm not worried about the future. I'm just here in the present moment. Oh, okay. And now I'm going to do this. I think all you guys have done some formal meditation. How many formal meditations don't pay attention to the breath work? None of them that I can think of.
You can do sound meditation.
You can do all kinds of meditations, but when you're doing any
It's
of the traditional Buddhist or Taoist meditations, they're always going to tell you to pay attention to your breath. Now, not all the time and not at the beginning, but as time goes on, you're going to pay attention to your breath. Watch, do this with me. All right, I'm going to stand up close here. All right. Okay, could you hear my exhales clearly? Yeah. How many inhales were there? How many exhales were there? How many yin and yang cycles were there? How many martial shin-yis were there? How many Neigong complexes were there? All right? 4 in this first little move. If you can get all that, then you're going to get all the Tai Chi because it's all there. There are much more complex versions of this, and yet they're all based on exactly the same simple principles. So Annie's awareness earlier of relaxing and of what that does with her body, that's what you want to arrive at. The reason it's easier to get in Qigong than in Tai Chi is that Qigong is deliberately very simple. Very simple. Very simple moves. And they're repetitive. Right? Tai Chi is very complex and it's not repetitive. Right? So it's actually harder to arrive at that relaxation in that present moment, which is why you always should do 70% Qigong to 30% Tai Chi. Because the relaxation is the most important thing. So if you were here for the earlier class, which unfortunately was a teaching class, right? But if you're just doing Qigong, it's so simple. You just immediately fall into that rhythm, into the breath work, right? It's like being in a hammock in the backyard, you know. It's just you just immediately begin to relax. You start doing Tai Chi and it's like this. Right? It gets much more complex right away. But the point is to study the Tai Chi deeply enough that you see everything that's going on, to practice it long enough that it becomes just like Qigong. It's just as relaxing, right? It's just as much in the present moment as the Qigong. So I've been thinking about biomolecules. Biomolecules, Kevin. When you're doing Qigong, you're working at the level, partly the subatomic level, partly maybe the elemental atomic level. But when you're doing Tai Chi, you're working at the macromolecular level, like a strand of DNA. Right? It's spiral and it's composed of thousands of atoms. When you're just doing Qigong, it's just a single atom. Right? And you don't have to do it hard, but just do it very softly. But this practice is practice for a strike like that. So the reason I'm going into all this detail is Tai Chi and Qigong are like this, right? They are separate arts, but they're also connected like this, right? Boom. And the attitude that you want to cultivate to make Qigong work for you is exactly the same attitude you want to bring into Tai Chi. Right? So Tai Chi is not about that. Right? That's a little icing on the cake that comes later. What it's really about is the Qigong. Watch. It's not this. It's this. Okay. For myself personally, I changed the place that the first move ends when I taught it to you guys originally, and I'll show you why. I think I explained it back then, but still. So we just had four Lee circles, front to back circles, but in fact there's 3 dimensions. So we've just been practicing in 1 dimension. If you go on from there, watch what happens. Okay, now you're in a different dimension. 1 on one side, 1 on the other. Okay, so you've done a clockwise shoe circle, followed by a counterclockwise shoe circle, and then you do a ping circle. So the place in the form where you first do Li and then Shu and then Ping actually goes into the second move. So the second move starts here. That's the second move. So the second move compared to the first move is really long and complicated. Anyway, I switched the goalpost a little bit and included the first part of the second move in the first move, just so that we could talk about the 3 dimensions of space. So let's, tomorrow we'll go into that a little bit, but right now to finish up, I want to see you guys do this first move, all right? So let's do it together. That was something I didn't tell you guys at the very beginning. Watch me do the 3 Taiji Qigong at the very beginning, and especially when I'm stopping. Watch. Watch. You have to be taking a little trip through your body when you're finishing, when you're doing this, but especially when you're finishing. Watch. All the way down to the bottom of the feet. Now, all the way up to the top of the head. Now down to the shoulders and down the arms to the tips of the fingers, and then down the leg to the tips of the toes. All right. And when I say you're going to top of the head, and then relaxing down as you relax, relax, relax. So it's not this, guys. All right? There's actually movement through the body. Bottom of the feet, up the spine to the top of the head, down the shoulders, down the arms to the tips of the fingers, and then down the legs to the tips of the toes. And you actually move in those places. Let's do it together. Center, center. Bring the chi in to the center. Don't just do this. You're pressing it into the center. Let it cook there for a second. And then just feel your body for a moment. You go to your core, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let me see you do it, Joe.
Okay.
Good. One of Master Feng's disciples is named Chen Shan, and he was kind of the last great disciple. When he does that first move, he does it this way. And Kevin has seen this. I don't know whether you guys have, right? But I'll just show you what he does. And so forth. Why does he do that? Why does he do that, Joe? Why does he teach that?
Because it really physically shows what you're doing.
Yeah, and it also slows people down. If you're going to go all the way down, not throw your back out, right? You're going to go down slow, slow. Take your time. And he does it slowly. Not super slow, but fairly slow, all the way down. So there's I've just described it as kind of formal or ceremonial. Another way to talk about that aspect of Tai Chi is to talk about ritual. There's a certain ritual to it. It's not It's not attached to any Taoist gods or anything like that. It's just a kind of a human ritual. And what it's really saying is, look, you're going to do this. You're coming out of normal day-to-day time. You're coming into a kind of special time. And in this time, you need to take your time. That's the whole point.
Yeah, it's a ritual with yourself.
And he was saying it's a ritual with yourself. It's like, slow down. Slow down. It's such an odd move. Why are you doing this? Well, you can say, well, there's that reason in Qigong, and there's that reason, etc., and all that may be true. But the real reason you're doing it is to signal to yourself that you're going into a different kind of space. Rand, let me see you do it.
Okay.
Okay, good. One last thing. Tomorrow we're gonna go on toward the second move, but I'm gonna play just a minute or half a minute of Yamaguchi, the Japanese Zen master, doing this. He has a beautiful way of doing the form. It's very ritualistic. It's very ceremonial, but it's also just very calm and very relaxed. So you don't see anything that's, that you would say, well, that's ritual. And yet it really has that feeling of ritual too. Watch me do this. One last little technical point. Watch where my arms are in relation to my body. Right here. So almost shoulder high. In fact, even a little higher than the shoulders. And then down just above the solar plexus and push out. That's not random. So it's not exactly like, watch, it's not this. You see people do that all the time, but that's not right. Rand, you're doing this, watch. But that's not it. I'll show you why if I can get Annie in here. Honey, come here and do a demo with me. Just take a second. That's okay, you don't have to say anything.
I've got my heating pad. I'm a mess.
That's okay. In fact, your back's gonna be to the, all right, so she comes over here. So, she's the bad guy, right? And she, no, she's gonna come up and she's gonna choke me, all right? All right, well, that's when you use this move, all right? Now, it may not be choking, but in this case, she could be choking. Watch, all right? And you see why things are at the level that they're at. So her energy is coming in like this, all right? So what I'm gonna do is come up under her elbows. Now don't react, all right? So I'm gonna come up under her elbows and I'm gonna lift slightly. How do I lift? By coming into my tangent. I'm not lifting with my arms. I'm lifting with my trunk. And I'm gonna lift and then roll in a little like this, all right? Again, all right? Roll in. That's gonna pull her in. And then what is she gonna do? What does anybody do? You're in a conflict situation and I'm saying, yeah, come on in. She's gonna start going backwards. As soon as you, wait a minute. As soon as you, quote unquote, hear her energy shift from yang to yin, that is from coming forward to going back, all right? Boom, that's when you move forward. I'm yin, 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 yin. She's yang, 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 yang. As soon as she goes from yang to yin, you go from yin to yang.
Flip the switch.
Flip the switch, all right? So,
Are you done?
one more. If I'm going to just push her in the middle of the chest or attack her solar plexus, all right, again, all right, that means I'm going to have to go from here directly into her solar plexus. So I'm only moving like 4 inches. Now, go again, all right? If I go down like this and then come forward, it's too much, and I'm out of contact with her. All right? I'd much rather just go like that. Thank you so much. Now, if you watch certain people, lots of people do the form, including a lot of masters, you will see them do this. All right? You may even see Master Feng do that. But I want you to understand that in some ways, that's not correct. This is correct. In other words, it's a much tighter circle. There's a little circle there and then out. It's not a great big circle and then push out. Now, once you know that, then you can do anything you want to do, knowing that you are painting with a different color. But it's not out of ignorance, it's out of choice. All right? Does it make sense, Jill? Okay. All right, guys. Have yourselves a great day. We'll pick it up there tomorrow. Ciao.